Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Torment, Tides of Numenera. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you're supposed to join me today, because look at who it is, it's Tibir. It's Tibir that's with us, and he's looking, well, as happy as he usually is. He's okay with us. I'm kind of sad for that. Now, what happened last episode is we brought Celestige with, well, back here. We talked to her, we actually found a bunch of stuff in relation to the changing god that was pretty important, but we didn't manage to find a way to get Rin out of here. Now, I still want to get her out of here, and the reason for that is because she seems to be, to find that good thing, and I'm gonna trust her on that. She's clearly troubled, and I'm trying to do the best for her. Now, what I'll do right now is I'll bring Tibir. Actually, we need to talk to Tibir.
Gods, I hate this place. A man likes to see a nice blue sky over his head, possibly with several naked lads and lasses in the way, asking if I had a nice nap and would like a drink. Not intestines and the like. Hope you're not planning a long stay.
Say no, lad, he thinks. Please say no. I'm gonna say no. I'm trying to, what's the word? To make this guy like me, and he was in love with somebody, and he's trying to reunite and ask for forgiveness or something. I don't actually remember. It's been a long time since we got his quest. I'm hoping that he's gonna really like us after we help him do that. And for that, we're gonna be able to feed him to a maw. It's just feed him partially. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna lose anything. It's gonna fine. But with that, I think Rin might be able to go back home. Well, at least I'm hopeful of that. And that's the plan. And I think Jackagen or whatever his name is the guy. He's just changed his name or something. So yeah. Only as long as it takes to find the first cast-off. Ah, so the rest of our short and painful lives then. Fine. Not too late to move on, he thinks. Oh, that might not have been a good thing. Ah, come on. Really? Well, maybe it doesn't matter. Hopefully it doesn't. So, let's talk about you. Sure. So, tell me about some of the happy times you had with Alvinia. That's the name. Well, gladly, he says softly. Truth to tell, it'll be good to get some of the memories off my chest and into the open air. He rubs the back of his neck. I've told you parts and pieces about him. Not sure where to start. Well, where were you and Novin together from the first the battle you met? Oh no, our commander separated us after we got out of the brig. Tibir chuckles. He didn't want us planning more herd heists. I didn't see Ovi for a handful of years after that, when we both landed in the only mercenary company that would have us. He scratches his cheek. You see, even mercenaries have rules. Don't sell the company's weapons on the side, for one. He raises a guilty hand. And don't break your captain's jaw, even if you're Ovi and thinks he's a rock-humping sadist. So we ended up in the Broken Riverbed Company, thieves, murderers, and drunks with nowhere else to go. But the commander had a good heart, took the contracts he believed in redemption. And Tibir shakes his head ruefully. Well, he signed us up to guard a village trapped between two enemy fronts. Half of us bolted when they saw the armies coming, and the rest when the bombardment started. I saw a big man pinned beneath some rubble and nearly left him anyway before I saw his face. The captain helped us pull Ovi out just before a slug took the top of his head off. That smile never left his face. I like to think he died thinking he'd turn one life around before the end. I was even faster in those days, and Ovi was freakish strong. We fought our way off the battlefield trench by trench and kept running after that. It was a week before we realized we were working together in all but name. So how did you and him fall in love? Well, I think we always were, he says, rubbing his eyes. The two of us were never good at spotting the obvious. That was just after Ovi started messing with the link rings and turned a potential battlefield into a muddy pit of romantic acrobatics. Back in the early days, the mind-sharing powers of those rings were, well, they were stronger. And even though we were far from the fighting, I don't know what that is. Far from the fighting, we felt the effects. Oh yeah, I see what it is. It's like, it's not really, it's like, far from the fighting. Yeah, I know what it is. We felt the effects. We stood there watching the magic unfold below and gradually felt each other's thoughts creeping into our heads. And Tibir closes his eyes. Finally, he turns to me and says, "You should have said something sooner." and he puts his hand in mine. He raises his hand, looking at the fingers. He grabbed the rings after things died down, and tinkered with them over the next few months while we moved from company to company, and battle to battle. I never asked why. Fixing things was part of what made him him. And Tibir lets his hand fall. Then he gave me one of them. Said he'd be able to keep track of me if we got separated in a scrap, and find me if I was in trouble. And he grimaces. That was Avi too. Never thinking things through. I hope it's Trackagen. I really hope it is, because the quest said it was. But I don't remember reading about Tibir. I just don't remember. I don't understand why we got that quest update. But, well, we're gonna follow through with it. So how did the link rings change things between you? Well, they made us closer, he says warily. And at first, there was no downside. We were new lovers with a mental link. I don't think I need to draw you a picture. And he massages his knuckles. We were tough fighters on our own. With our thoughts linked, well, we were unstoppable. And fools enough to think that the good times would last. And he raises his eyes to yours, because the endless battle was waiting for us. Our orders were to take a hill in the middle of a field of shattered time. He shivers. The first time, Avi and I fought our way to the top before something snapped in our gut, and we were back at the bottom, 2 hours back. We charged up again, and this time, one of those fireballs landed right on us. And he studies his bicep. My arm burst apart like rotten fruit, and Avi died on the spot. I felt his mind wink out inside mine, like someone had crushed him in their fist. And he rubs his temples. Then, snap! Back down to the bottom of the hill with Avi still alive. But even with him at my side, I couldn't stop mourning him. Yeah, he swallows. We fought for that damned hill for what felt like lifetimes, dying and dying. Eventually, one of our victories stuck, and Avi and I got the hell out of there. After a moment of silence, he says, Avi took that whole mess as a sign that it was time to create our own company, but I was still mourning for him. Yeah, I guess the experience never really leaves you. It's probably like those dreams that you have, like when somebody close to you dies, or you're mad at somebody and then you wake up and you still feel those feelings, even though you know they're not real. And, you know, of course, this being ever more vivid than an actual dream, I'm sure it would scar him. You and Avi created your own mercenary company? But that's a generous assessment, Tiberius grunts. No, actually, that's what you said. No, it actually wasn't. He said he had decided to create the company. I was against the side-by-sides. Side-by-sides? From the first. Was that the name of the company? Thought we were better off on our own. It was one of the first things that the first signs that things were souring between us. He covers his eyes with his calloused hands. But no, Avigne wanted to run things, to choose the fights he thought were worth fighting. And he wanted to drag me along with him. Groaning, he lets his hands fall. So he recruited his people, and I stood on the side, hating every second of it. It all went wrong in some no-name village that was burned off the map years ago, he says, looking away from you. He gave me an order I didn't like, so I didn't follow it. And he hit me. And he touches the side of his face. Said if I wanted to run the side-by-sides so bad, I could have it. And he walked off. He looks back at you, his eyes soft but hooded. Haven't seen him since. And I've missed him every day, if I'm being honest. He shouldn't have hit you. Huh, Tibir says, shaking his head. Don't get the wrong idea. He'd never hit me before that, not once, and our relationship was over before he threw a punch. It was kind of your own making, wasn't it? But then again, it wasn't. I mean, this doesn't seem to be too different from normal life relationships. I mean, if you do something that the other person doesn't like, then, and they just put up with it, you should at least acknowledge that. It's not be upset when they finally burst, right? I don't know. Each situation is its own, I guess. So what was the order he gave you didn't want to follow? Couldn't tell you, he says, turning his head. And it doesn't matter now. Don't ask me this. I don't want to remember. You're hiding something, Tibir. What is it? He bows his head. Have mercy, eh? He says, telling all of this hasn't been easy. And I know I had part in what went wrong between us. Shaking his head, he says, and what does it matter anyway? The full truth isn't going to mend things between Avi and me. That time is done. Yeah, I suppose it is. Let's talk about something else. So let's talk about something else, if I can. let's talk about you some more. Let's talk about something else. Okay, so that goes straight to how are you holding up? I'm fine, lad. I just hope you won't regret our friendship when the time comes to part ways. Okay, so he said he's basically in the same stance as he was before. I want to ask you about the Bloom. Huh, well, I lived here for a long time, though not recently. The Bloom's no place for pleasure, and he nods at you. Ask your questions, and I'll do my best. So, tell me what you know about Dracogen. Not enough, Tibir says, looking uncomfortable. He isn't the first man to use that name, and I have heard stories that he can be in more than one place at the same time. He hisses air out of the side of his mouth. He pays well, but you don't want to cross him. Ever. You just don't. Okay, so that's why I didn't understand, because Dracogen isn't actually Ovi. So there we go. That's a little bit better. I am kind of curious about his quest, but I want to stick with the characters I have right now. So yeah. If I keep, but then again, I need to help Rin. I need to help Rin. How am I gonna do that? Anyway, so what do you know about of Parsim Flint? He's a smiling parasite, Tibir says cheerfully. He deals in despair and has a lot of loyal customers. Can't stand the man. Okay. What do you think of the Bloom? If I'm being charitable, Tibir looks around. Everything's got the right a chance to leave, but this beast hates the people living in it. There's a fortune to be made in here if you know what you're looking for or what you're doing. But only the hardest operators last long down here, and the Bloom never misses a meal. What do you know about the Memovita? Not much, and I like it that way, he says, grimacing. Now, if you want to know what happens to people who cross her, just listen to the screaming. What about little Niliesh? Ah, mutants, he says. Life isn't easy for them, but the stories I have from parties in Niliesh would peel your ears off. But they're not all shameless hedonists. More's the pity. I was once mugged by a man with three arms eyes, yeah, while his kneecap kept an eye on the alley. What? Sure, it's fine. I don't really understand what that is, but yeah. Can I ask you about the people I have with me? I don't have with me. That's the new character. We have never met this guy. Or girl. I have no idea. I think I've seen a picture. I believe it's a guy. Let's not ask about him because that's a bug. That's quite clearly a bug. What about Eridis? No, he's an absolute pleasure. The lad will do anything for you if you tell him it's an exciting adventure. Yeah, what about Rin? Oh, I've been meaning to talk to you about this. What foolish notion made you think it was right to bring a little girl with us? People say I'm irresponsible, but this? Hey, she says, glaring up at him. I may be little, but at least I'm not a criminal. Well, was that an insult? He says, grinning. I hear it all the time. The word has lost its sting somewhat. Yeah, I'm sure it has. Ah, well. Okay, so we're gonna bring him to Dracogen, see how things go. I'm gonna save the game there as well, very important, because I never know if it's gonna crash or anything. It's my own problem, not the game, but it's the problem of my computer or something. I don't know. Anyway, Dracogen's voice is less patient. You return again. Surely this time you bear what you promised? He sniffs the air. Alas, you do not. The time of mere mortals is not the same scale allotted to cast-offs, friend. I urge you to speed your search. Well, first off, let's start with Tibir, and then we'll worry about the trade post being devoured, because it was. But yeah, so I can't go to Ascension, which is the whole point of things. I just didn't think to come back here. I just figured, okay, well, I can do things on my own, so I don't need to report and just on everything, every little handicap that appears in my way. Handicap is not the word. Obstacle, yeah. So you said something, that you had something to say to Tibir.
I'll remember.
Here he is. He turns to Tibir. Old friend, let us resume our acquaintance, shall we? How is Oving? Did you have a joyful reunion? And Tibir's jaw drops. His face goes pale. I don't... How do you know? His eyes seek yours in mute appeal at as his tangled questions take his breath from him and leave him for once speechless. Oving and Dracogen? How... Oh gods. The ring. Oh, wait a minute. No, he wants an amulet. He doesn't want a ring. Let's say nothing, because I can't really do anything. I want to help him, but yeah. I haven't seen him in years, Tibir manages at last, staring at Dracogen with a mixture of fear and helpless rage. How do you know him? His fist clenches. Where is he? I really couldn't say, says Dracogen, all concerned. He found me through that ring you gave me in reparation for the incident. Oh, so that's why I couldn't find the ring? Aw, come on. Seriously? Anyway, I had turned it off, and he came running, assuming you were dead. A gentle smile creases his face. I told him I would help him find you in exchange for his services. He arches an eyebrow, but then he vanished. He says, frankly, I had assumed that Oving found you and reneged on our deal. Yeah, well, it's kind of a shame, really, that he didn't take you on a deal, because that would make things all too easy. I turned it off on purpose, he thinks. I was curious who would link themselves to him. Oving would never do that, Tibir says hotly, then flushes. He's a man of his word, and, well, you have to admit that you do have a fearsome reputation, and Oving wouldn't want to cross you. Dracogen taps his chin. This does present a problem, then. Oving pledged a year of service to me in exchange for certain information, and, well, now he's vanished. I thought of using the pair mind link ring you gave me as collateral in order to track him down, but then I realized that anything could have befallen the poor man here in the Bloom. And besides, who am I to stand between two long-lost lovers? Perhaps you might be more inclined to seek him out than I do. So, here. You can take your ring back. May it be useful to you. And he smiles to you and bows. My apologies, but I simply had to make sure of Tibir and Oving. I had to make sure of Tibir and Oving? Yeah. I do look forward to hearing of the successful resolution of our arrangements. If he didn't run off, he thinks, I wonder what happened to him and whether anybody crossed him. Okay, so we have Tibir's ring. We didn't have this before, but this is a quest item that probably is going to go to Tibir. But there we go. So this does advance our quest a lot. But first, let's have a chat with him again and tell him about the Ascension place. Excuse me. So, yeah, Grizzler tells me the trade post is gone. Kind of devoured. Dracogen's voice sharpens and his gaze is intense. You have agreed to my terms. Do you now tell me that you cannot fulfill your end of the bargain? I think not. You are resourceful. And he frowns. I doubt the trade post is truly gone. You simply need to find another maw that will take you there. Is this cast-off weaker than his kind, or is he simply toying with me? Yeah, I figured. I didn't really need to tell him that, but... Tibir, we got news! There's things, man! There's things. You got your ring back. Yes, lad? So, where do you think Oving is? Well, Tibir begins touching the ring on his hand and closing his eyes. His brow wrinkles in discomfort, confusion. Is somewhere in Little Niliash? Oh, wait a minute. It wasn't Calistige, was it? That I needed to... What? This is good. This is good, because we're going there anyway. So this is really good. Let's get you guys, come on! And I can see you there, so that's also better, because, you know, cutting travel times. I'll see you in a little bit. Marvel at how the loading screen changes and the amazingness of YouTube. I don't know. I'm always excited to do these cuts. I'm an idiot. I'm a nerd. Don't worry. It's all fine. Wondor, that's not him. It could be him for all I know, but let's have a chat with these guys and see if it is Quasarinium over there. Could be. Could be also walks without fear for all I know. I didn't actually talk to him. So what do we need to do? Rin again. Can't do anything. Okay, good. How about this guy? Hello. Where's your brother? What'd you do? Okay. Could it be walks without fear? But if he's here in... Oh, wait a minute. He's not gonna be... Oh! That's a maw. Damn it. Didn't we see another one? I think we saw another one somewhere. No, we saw one in the surgeon thing. How am I supposed to find a guy? Spiny mutant, could it be these guys? No. Let's go. Let's have a chat. Just in case, let's have a chat with... I'm not gonna bring Tibir around just for the likelihood that I find Ovi or Ovigna, whatever. Ovigna. I don't know how you pronounce it. What? There we go. Shut up. Let's go in here. See if he recognizes anything. So I can go there. Yeah, I can't really... Tell me who you are again. Yeah, he really doesn't recognize anybody. Okay, so let's send Tibir away. Tibir, I'll see you in a little bit. I'll try to find a guy, and we'll see how things go. Yeah, I think it's best to be part ways. I've got a way to contact you. Yeah, there's no need to read that. If you want to read it, you can pause the video, of course. And I won't fault you for that. It's all fine. Because, you know, this is your video, this is your own computer. Well, unless it's not your own computer, but still you're using it. Well, maybe unless you're not, in which case, tell the person who is controlling your computer to pause the video and go back if you want to read those things. Yeah, also must not do what I was doing, which is going on without bringing Alligator. So, press the cage sigil. That's Alligator, right? You press the cage sigil with your thumb, and hear Alligern's voice in your head, as though from a great distance. Doesn't make sense, he mutters, accompanied by the clicking of tools. It's like this thing wants to be broken. Join me. Huh? Alligern says in your mind. Oh, it's you. Sure, kid.
Ready to test this out.
Alligern abruptly appears beside you, wobbling on his feet a little. What was he doing? What was that supposed to mean? That he wasn't wobbling? Anyway, let's continue because we have a lot to do over here, and well, back to the plight. Let's go. It's just gonna take a little while until she's done. This filthy old man is dressed in a motley of rags, arranged artfully to emphasize. What's going? Okay, I thought I saw something over here. Artfully to emphasize the inhuman reach of his needle-like fingers and the two protruding humps on his back, as if his mutations are a source of pride. He wears smoked goggles on his forehead, parked above his transparent eyelids and his noseless face. His teeth are small, even, and shining white. He knows them often, or he shows them often as he smiles to himself. That's creepy. He pockets. Well, it's just my. In my experience, people who smile to themselves are creepy. I'm not saying that that's the case, but it sounds creepy to me. Anyway, his pockets are filled with trinkets and baubles that he has picked from the piles of trash. He raises his hand and says, "Aye, what have we here? Who comes to disturb old Crimper? Have you come to search through this bounty with me? You are welcome to share." He looks at you keenly. "Share, you hear?" What are you doing here? He lowers his head and grumbles, what does it look like I'm doing? I dig, and I answer questions for fools. Not everything in a trash heap is trash, but wastrels abound. Why waste? Why waste indeed? Fah. And he combs through a mound of trash with uncanny speed and precision. Tourists, always bothering Crimper. I don't usually, I can't decide between saying the thoughts. That was a thought, by the way. Saying the thoughts with his voice or without his voice, but anyway. Have you ever found anything valuable here? His tone instantly softens, sounding almost pleased. Oh, yeah. People lose all kinds of treasure in the trash. He sits back and pushes up his goggles. Unexploded detonations, blocks of metal that spark and steam with nano-spirit swarms, a marble with a cloud of insects inside, half-used healing injectors, and he bleams. A Colostrian axe veil, even! That brought me many shins. Oh no, perhaps Crimper was wrong, he thinks. Perhaps this one is interested. So what is the best item you found here? It was this! And he fumbles around in his pocket, slapping at his shapeless rags, before he reaches a hidden stash and pulls something out. It's an ugly, vomit-green cylinder made of organic material, about half the size of a forearm, covered in knots and whorls and tendrils. It looks like it might still be alive. I found this a year ago. It was buried near Gargotto's tank, and I would have missed it if it hadn't wrinkled. Listen. He squeezes it and sets it down, and the thing begins to sing in a slow, discordant tone. The device shivers and rolls around on the ground, hooting and piping through tiny mouths in its tendrils and whorls, and then issues a melancholic belch. That's okay. The mouths close, and the thing ceases its movement and sound. He titters a bit. I laugh every time. I had to shed blood for this one. Some human thought to take it from me. He drops it into one of his outer pockets. It was my only comfort the night young Gottlieb disappeared. Helped me through, it did, he thinks. It's a little ugly. It's just, is it relevant? Tell me again. Oh, that's again. It seems like little Niliash has an awful lot of trash. Aha! This is the meeting for the bloom, to be sure. I've crossed through many chambers and cavities, and none of them have this kind of refuse. We mutants do not make this much mess, and new piles of garbage appear daily. So much work. Yeah, I could try and steal it from him, but I don't really see a point. Hi, child. You ask plenty of questions about the refuse and the hidden treasures here, but not so much about finding treasures of your own. Have you ever dreamed of picking your future from the ground? I can show you. Oh, yes. An apprentice, maybe, he thinks. I haven't had Someone learned from me since young Godly. Oh, okay, so that explains the whole thing. Wait a minute, did he think of Godly as well? Yes, he did. Yeah, I'd be happy to learn whatever you have to teach me. Aha! Good, good! The first possession in your hands should be on your hands. A trash picker needs gloves or skin-like synth, stone, glass, and ordure combine in these piles, and like as not, some sharps will pierce your skin. You want none of that fluid in your core, child, or you'll end up in like Crimper here, or poor Frung, not right between the ears. Oh, what happened? Something happened. Maybe I got this. He continues in that vein of, for a time, leading you to various trash piles. This one picks clean. See how the pile is strewn, and behold, a pile of last resort. You want those relatively undisturbed. And you spend some time looking for new piles, and you're rewarded with the pleasure of sifting through some organic goop and chemical-scented tailings. But eventually you find something that may be useful, and you pocket it. Now, over here, the others hit the pile quick, but not deep. You want to go deeper than the surface, aye, but you need to go fast and careful. Fast and careful, huh? He shows you how to dig through a large pile quickly and safely, maneuvering around jagged chunks of broken synth, shattered stone glass, and splintered wood. At the end, you find an interesting piece, and you take that too. Okay, so this thing is an intricate patterns are carved on all sides. It's an oddity that I can't use, I don't think, or maybe I will. And the other thing is an everlit. This looks like an ordinary white candle set on a metal base. Its material is firm and pliable and doesn't burn or melt. There is no wick. An illegible inscription is engraved on the metal base. When you turn your eyes away, a flickering flame lights up on the room, casting dancing shadows. The flame always disappears when you look back. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool concept. You learned quickly. You have a true gift. Come back and share some time with me, child. Having paid careful attention to Crimper's lessons, you feel you could now locate other treasures in the trash of little Niliesh. Farewell, child. That's actually pretty interesting. Will we be able to do that? Well, I could find little treasures in his pockets, but I don't want to. I really don't want to. There's no reason, but there is a reason to go through these piles, and we'll do that next episode. For now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Torment, Ties of Numenera. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video, but above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.